the point about whether there have been any game changers this election. We've talked about momentum. You know, there have been lots of things which have caught the eye. They've lit up the TV screens, the things that have been said during rallies, etc. Has there been one idea or a couple of ideas to you, Rajdeep? Let's start with you once again. That could have been game changers or potential game changers?
To me, there is only one big idea, one narrative, and that's Prime Minister Modi. From Kashmir to Kanyakumari, if there's one factor that's looming large on this election, it is the Prime Minister. He is, either you're voting for him or not for him. He, in a sense, defines the election. Lots of issues, we hear of narratives, Mehngai, we've heard of Berozgari. These are all issues you hear on the ground. Some parts, the onion farmers in Maharashtra are angry. Somewhere, micro enterprises are angry in Coimbatore with GST. But if there is one dominant factor that I've seen, it's Prime Minister Modi. And I wasn't there during the Indira Gandhi age, so I can't compare. But I haven't seen one individual loom so large over the election campaign like Prime Minister Modi has. That's been his strength. And the BJP has every right in that sense to make this election as presidential as possible. And they've tried to make it. Nobody even knows the candidates in many places, but they know of Prime Minister Modi.
Any game changers apart from
the most dangerous thing we've seen is this whole idea of khatakhat, 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 khatakhat. Just do some maths. There are 400 million households in India. Let's assume that 10% of them are poor. 8,500 rupees is... if you do the maths, it's 4 lakh crore rupees per annum if you give 8,500. And then Rahul Gandhi in the middle of the speech casually says, ye zyada bolenge to main double kar dunga, 2 lakh kar dunga. So then that means that's 8 lakh crore rupees. The government, according to this budget, the government's estimate of revenue is 30 lakh crore rupees, which means 1/4 of the government's total estimated revenue, which will then be spent on ports, on roads, on airports, everything.
Will go into just this.
In this one scheme, where you're giving khatakhat, 8,500 rupees. Now, that's why I think Rajdeep said, look at how their numbers are tracking on social media. You say crazy things, they will track. Now, if 8,500 rupees goes into somebody's house, what is the incentive to work? I mean, if you look at a European country, the level of welfareism is higher because they also have more money to spend. In a country like India, 8,500 or 16,000 plus rupees you give to people sitting at home, it just turns everybody, you don't have the incentive to work. What are you doing to this country? 8 lakh crore rupees, 1/4 of total government revenue getting spent on this scheme. Rajdeep, do you think that's a wise idea? Khatakhat. You do this khatakhat. Your Instagram and Facebook and Twitter numbers will zoom.
A rumor spread in Karnataka and Bengaluru. You had all Muslim women line up wanting to open bank accounts to get that 8,000.
No, but let's deal with this, especially
so the question is, was khatakhat confined to online and
if you're going
TV
to look
traction?
at dangerous things that have been said in this election, believe me, there's been things a lot more dangerous than khatakhat that has been said during rallies in this election. Let's not venture there. Number one. Number two, you asked for the game changers. Rajdeep touched on the larger part of the Prime Minister. I do agree, but there are two for the BJP, and I'll give you, for the alliance as well. What's been a game changer for the Bharatiya Janata Party and the NDA alliance? Number one, it has to be the free ration. Now, that across, whether you call it Galla, Ration, Quota, it runs across the Labharthi belt, yes. Number two, Mahila factor. Why I say the Mahila factor is slightly,
which Rajdeep's column is about also.
She's taken it away from me.
No, bends towards,
Mahila and youth, you're saying.
No, and by the way, I'm going to get to the UI as well. Why I feel the Mahila factor bends towards the Bharatiya Janata Party is, look at the rallies while we keep saying great, crowds coming in for Akhilesh and Rahul Gandhi's rally. Do we see any Mahila in there? We don't see the Mahilas in there. There's a reason why when you speak with them, they have an affiliation along with, of course, the ration and, the other factors. Security is a big issue which they talk of, which they side towards the BJP. The Y factor that he talks of, the youth. I have had trouble finding Yuva under the age of 30 that are siding with the BJP. Yuva, this election is with the Gathbandhan. The Mahila is with the BJP. And there's been a clear distinction in that.
Okay.
So somewhere down the line, the Berozgari factor has clicked. I don't know if it's going to be a game changer. I doubt it. But the Yuva lies with the Gathbandhan. I just want to add one more comment. Just one more comment, which I think the Gathbandhan got right. The Gathbandhan got right is the caste calculation on the basis of which they have given their candidates. There are at least 20 seats today in Uttar Pradesh that have come into a fight primarily on the basis of candidates.
I'm going to come to caste as my last round, but I wanted to finish one round on game changers.
The biggest game changer...
I'm happy to respond, by the way, to Rahul on khatakhat.
Yeah, I'll just come to you, sir.
And not just restricted to elections. is elections in Jammu and Kashmir. The fact that you've won, had peaceful
You're
elections.
saying that's a game changer?
The fact that you've had 50% plus, 58% voter turnout, and the fact that Pakistan state-sponsored radical Islamist terror has been made redundant. And that happened actually post-2019, post-Balakot bombing. So those are amazing game changers that have happened. What's a game changer right now is what we watch in the years ahead is civilizational nationalism that Swami Vivekananda spoke of, and Prime Minister is practicing right now in Kanyakumari. That's going to be
Do we
huge
want
once again.
civilizational nationalism or we want better governance? Wasn't this
Sir,
election about good governance?
Sir,
We have floods. Gaurav Sawant, as we
Manipur.
speak, there is floods in
Manipur.
Manipur.
Yes.
There's a heat wave across this country. We've had terrible fire blazes in different parts of the country. I believe whoever is in
Which
power,
India today is
whichever
covering
party,
in a
should
big
be
way.
focusing on governance. Civilizational nationalism is not, according to me, the
Sir,
core issue which is going to make India truly a Viksit
Again,
Bharat.
when you
And I'll come to the
understand-
Khatakat point then. Because the fact is, what we have seen in this election is competitive populism. Everyone believes that if all else fails, I can in some way incentivize people
Buy it
with
out.
cash handout. Now, this is not just true with the Khatakat politics of Mr. Rahul Gandhi. We've also seen it not too long ago with Shivraj Singh Chauhan. He probably won that election on Ladli Behna by saying, I'm going to give you 1,200
Or
rupees.
Mamata Banerjee with Lakhir Bhandar.
Mamata Banerjee with Lockheed Bhandar, and we are seeing it across the country. Now, some of them, I don't think have done their maths before they've gone into these numbers, and I think that's a worry, because I would have rather seen this election being fought on what is your core economic agenda,
But it wasn't.
point by point.
But it wasn't.
It became about Mangal Sutra somewhere, Machli somewhere.
Core economic
But that-
agenda was
I mean,
never on the table.
You see, both sides at some stage engaged in fear mongering. One, I believe, engaged in the fear mongering about, if you vote for the Congress, वो आपकी भैंस ले लेंगे, मंगल सूत्र ले लेंगे, मुसलमानों को reservation
There
दे
are people
देंगे.
buying that.
Utter crap that need not have come in the cabinet. On the other side, you had the Congress saying, if the BJP comes to power, they'll do away with reservations.
Sir,
I haven't seen anywhere where the BJP has ever said that they're doing away with reservations.
So Musalmano ko Arakshan
I want
is
election
something
should-
that RJD is also talking
Sir,
about.
But
Sir, the fact
Andhra
is,
Pradesh, it has already happened.
Sir.
Courts may have struck it down, but Andhra Pradesh, it has happened.
Sir, the fact is, at the
We
end
spoke
of the
about
day,
this last time as
we
well.
were mixing issues. My point is, the election should have been on hope. At some stage, it became about fear, because politicians sometimes believe they can divide people through vote bank politics.
Okay.
I was reassured when I traveled across the country, especially the young that Preeti spoke about. Moment you said Hindu Muslim, he said, "Sir, ये छोड़िए, ये आप गोदी मीडिया वाले हिंदू मुस्लिम करते हैं, असली मुद्दों पर आओ." I was pleasantly surprised that social media in particular has made many young people think about issues, including Manipur. In Patna College, I had a 10-minute debate, which was, according to me, they seem to know more than us about Manipur and what's
Biggest
happening.
zinger this election.
you know, my observation,
Specific, but,
I'll
yeah.
tell you, I covered this in 7 seats across Delhi, and I agree with Rajdeep sir that people weren't bothered about your bhains le jayega, ya Mangal Sutra, this, that. What people got affected with were the statements around the wealth distribution. That was the only statement that upset a certain section of the population in the old Delhi area. But apart from that, people were like, फर्क नहीं पड़ता, you know, यहाँ पर पानी नहीं आती है, सड़कें अच्छी नहीं है, घर में बेटा है, नौकरी नहीं है. This is what matters to us. Gas का दाम, everybody that I spoke with has raised this issue. 1200 rupees is, you can't afford this.
Okay.
This is something that needs to be taken care of. However, is there an alternative? And is there a sense that I got from people? They say, 10 साल चल रहा है ना, continuity is what I thought a lot of people want, कि चल रहा है,
Who else is
ठीक
there?
हो जाएगा, और कुछ समय दोगे,
So they don't
तो
have
ठीक
faith,
हो
you're
जाएगा.
saying?
They have faith. They
in an
still have
alternative.
faith that there is a
Which is the
scope for
point that
improvement.
Rajdeep has raised as well.